Expectations for the Broncos changing. They are changing, and they need to be changing based on what we've seen the first 6 games of the 2025 season. Broncos sitting at 4-2. Seems like Buffalo keep faltering. I basically want to ask the question today. A few questions, but all kind of relying on the same thing. Hope, faith in Sean Payton, in Bo Nix to get this thing right as the season goes on. Where is your expectation level at for your Denver Broncos? It is Orange Blue today. Cecil Lammey, Andrew Mason on assignment. Hope Mace can get back in action tomorrow, so we certainly appreciate him and miss him very, very much. But it's time to talk about the Broncos and the expectations. I'm sick and tired of talking about the Jets game. We learned more about Matt Peart today going on IR with a knee injury that he played through after 3 plays. So, Matt Peart, not the answer at left guard, but also hurt. So interesting note there for the Denver Broncos. Interesting note now, if you look at the AFC standings and if you look at what's going on in the rest of the conference, like, okay, wow. Could the Broncos end up at the bye being a 9-2 team? And if they do, what does that look like for their conversations around them? What does it look like for the expectations? Like, how do things change now? Giants are coming into town week 7, and Giants have a lot of hype, right? Cam Scatterboo and Jackson Dart, and who's stopping this duo besides a push-pull sign on her door? Like, okay, is it possible? Now, handy-dandy note card that Mason and I did at the beginning when the schedule was released. In the bye week in week 12, I had the Broncos at 8-3. Mace had them at 7-4. It's pretty good. Pretty damn good. Both of them really good as a matter of fact. Now I have them finishing at 13-4. Mace has them at 11-6. Again, pretty good. Really good. But I'm going to fast forward to Thanksgiving because, again, there's things to take away from the Jets, but lamenting a win, it's a little weird. And it's frustrating. Like, this team just needs to play better. Okay? I am very willing to kind of look at this game, much like the game against the Jets last year. Now, I remember last year we had the Jets and the Broncos. It was in New Jersey, and you had the downpour. Mason and I were in West Virginia. We're sitting in a puddle talking to Mike Kliss. Like, it was just kind of this thing where they're on the road. They're at Peyton's place in West Virginia, and it was weird. But they had beat Tampa Bay, and then they beat the Jets. Again, not an interesting game. Bo Nix's first touchdown, by the way. But, like, I forgave it because, one, it was Bo Nix early on, so wasn't going to lose my mind. Week 7, he got rolling. Week 7. There's a reason why I use this handy-dandy thumbnail right there, because that's after the Saints game when they really got rolling in week 7 last year. Now, to this year. And the expectations for this Broncos team, because, again, there's plenty of things to take away from the Jets game in London. But I'm very willing to say, hey, it's London. Hey, it's weird. Hey, it's just like, okay, you're going to have the, different preparation, and it's odd. You're not at home. You're in the middle of nowhere. You're playing in front of fans that don't understand American football. And, okay, there you go. I'm willing to, say, okay, just wrap that thing up. Get to a normal week. We finally have a normal week. No more Monday night, no more weird practice times, no more London trip. We actually have a regular week. So Wednesday, normal practice time. Thursday, normal practice time. Friday, normal practice time. It's good to get back to normal. So it's good to get back to talking about this team positively. The Jets game is frustrating and disappointing, and it's a win. So I'm washing it away. I'm moving on. Chat room, if you've got some things to say about the Jets game still, let me know. But I've moved on. I want to look at the overall picture, because I think in the 25,000-foot view for this team, we'd all take 4-2 right now. God bless America. All of us would take 4-2. If I had told you, hey, we're going to get to October 14th. I'll even rewind to yesterday. We're going to get to October 13th. Broncos going to be 4-2. You okay? You okay with that? If I tell you that in August, I say, hey, I've seen the future, at least until October 13th. The Broncos are 4-2. You good? We good? Because you'd probably think, okay, 4-2. Well, that means they lost to the Chargers because they didn't beat the Chargers last year, and they lost to the Eagles because they're the world champions, and it's in their house, and it's an early game. Yeah, you take that. You take 4-2 all day. So 4-2 is where they're at. And in a way, because of their own doing, by the way, they're kind of like under the radar a little bit. Now, I also get a little bit annoyed when the pendulum swings in the NFL coverage. Like, are the Broncos Super Bowl contenders? Or are the Broncos like barely a playoff team? The pendulum swings back and forth with the national media, which I don't really care about. And again, it's kind of annoying. But for me, I've been resolute in that 13-win mark. They can still get there. Obviously, they're right on track. And I think by the bye in week 12, they can be 9-2. What in the world is this team looking at if they're 9-2? You know what I mean? How are people talking about them if they're 9-2 at Thanksgiving? Right now, you have the New England Patriots sitting on the top of the AFC East at 4-2. Same record as the Denver Broncos. They're tied with the Buffalo Bills at 4-2. The Indianapolis Colts are 5-1. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 4-2. Right now, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are 4-1. Right now, if the playoffs were to start today, the Indianapolis Colts being right there, and the Broncos are one leverage play away, as Will Peterson said on his Twitter. They're one leverage play away from being the number one seed in the AFC. That's a bye. Now, I'm emotional and opinionated, and I'm kind of crazy. And when I say 13 wins, everyone says, oh, that's crazy. They'll win 10 or 11. Well, they won 10 last year. That's not an improvement. I expect this team to improve. And I've been mostly disappointed by this Broncos offense in 2025. And this defense is doing everything, which you love to see. But so as someone who's crazy and emotional and opinionated, I've never even really thought, because I don't think it's a serious thought, but new information comes new opinions. I never took it seriously like they'd be the number one seed in the AFC. I always used to say in August and early September, like, you're not on the level of Buffalo or Baltimore. Well, are you? Baltimore's not on the level of anybody right now. And I've talked to some people around the team who are like, we can get Lamar healthy and we can make a run. All I would say is to my friends, good luck with that. Don't think it's going to happen. But either way, if you look at the way the playoff picture is setting up now, there's going to be one wild card team from the AFC South, who looks like Jacksonville. There's going to be one wild card team from the AFC West. At this time, it looks like it would be the Denver Broncos, right? As you sit at the standings, Los Angeles Chargers 4-2, Denver Broncos 4-2. Okay, and then you've got the Steelers in winning the division. You got the Patriots in and the Bills in. So there's your three wild card teams. There's your four division winners. And you've got a bye for the number one seed, which would be the Indianapolis Colts. Could it be the Denver Broncos? Now, a serious conversation, not just pie in the sky, of course, on OBT. Mason and I don't do the Homer radio. We're not the blog boys, so we're not like, everything's fine. Everything's not fine. And this offense certainly is not fine. I'm willing to say, hey, early season, whatever, London game, get out of their system. Let's see how they look against the Giants. If they play in the way that they're capable of playing, while also knowing that football is an up and down sport. Not everything goes your way in this great game. So football is an up and down sport. As the season goes and the games go, and there's ups and ebbs and flows and ups and downs and waves, crests and troughs, right? I got that right. Crests and troughs. As there's all these things throughout a single game, I'm also going to understand, like, if the Broncos play, mainly the way they should play, and the offense is not humming, but let's say the offense kind of hums a little bit and they're getting it going and whatever, like, the expected play of the Denver Broncos is merely this. You should beat the New York Giants. You should beat the Dallas Cowboys. You should beat the Houston Texans. You should beat the Las Vegas Raiders. And if you want to do a coin flip against KC, I do have a home and home. Wait a second. No. As a matter of fact, I have them sweeping the Chiefs because forget you, Kansas City. So if you want to be pessimistic, say home at home split with KC, well, you'll win this one because this first one's in a power field a mile high. You're 9-2 at the bye. Okay, it sounds really odd to say based on the disappointment of the Jets game. Again, this is a wonderful story, right? Isn't life wonderful? Isn't football wonderful? Because you get this story unfolding. It's like, they don't look real good. They're 4-2. And if they continue doing what they're doing, they're probably going to be 9-2 at the bye. Oh my God. Could they win 13 games? 10's the, yeah, of course they're going to win 10. And 11's like, they're barely better than last year. I think they are better than last year. The offense needs to show up. But imagine that and the expectations for the Denver Broncos. Now, the mere question of today's show, and you can comment in the live chat. I'm going to get to your comments here in just a little bit. Hi, live chat. I want your comments down below. It really helps the algorithm. Make sure you know that YouTube knows you like us. You really, really like us. Again, orange and blue today. Mace on assignment. Hoping he's back tomorrow. So hope to see him. I'll give him a hug tomorrow. I'll give him a hug for all of us tomorrow out at Broncos Park, powered by Common Spirit, for open locker room and podium, where I'll talk to Coach Sean Payton tomorrow. So anyway, tell the algorithm you like us. Comment down below. Have your expectations changed, both up and down? Have you watched this team and they're not hitting on all cylinders and you're super frustrated and disappointed, but like they're 4-2? So it's like, okay, you're not playing great football. You're 4-2. Is that the sign of a better than expected team? Is that the sign of a, hey, y'all think they're kind of mid? And trust me, I've seen it. Bo Nix is mid. Sean Payton's mid. And I have a problem with Payton's play calling. I know that others, Mark Schlereth, blames the players for the execution. It's both, honestly, but I believe Sean can call a better game, and I do believe in this talent right here. You don't need Traylon Burks, okay? What's Traylon Burks going to do for you? Go trade for Garrett Wilson or Breece Hall or whatever. Like, I like the talent there now. I would just like the talent to be utilized properly. So have your expectations for the Broncos changed after 6 games? It's the question of today's show. It's a fair question, and I stick by my story because my expectations haven't. They've always been sky high. 13 wins. 13, and the reason why I picked 13, which is actually a good luck number, look it up, became bad luck because of the Templar Nights. Friday the 13th, again, do your research. I picked 13 because 13 is the elite number. You win 10 games, you're pretty good. You're a playoff team. You win 11 games, you're pretty good. Playoff, wild card, whatever, maybe division. You win 12 games, you probably win in your division. You're pretty good. Very good. You win 13, you're elite. My expectations for this team are elite. Now, maybe, again, full disclosure, nuts, crazy. Maybe I'm just, drinking the Broncos Kool-Aid. This isn't actually Starbucks. It's Starbucks and a protein shake. I totally admit that. Like, it could just be me. My expectations were way too high. That's why I'm so disappointed. And I really shouldn't be this disappointed because the expectations should have never been that high. Okay, yeah, let's have that conversation. But have the expectations change for you, knowing that you're 4-2 and you have a chance of being 9-2. And if you're pessimistic, 8-3. Now you have to win those games. You must play better. You got to start rolling. We're going to see if it's Throckmorton in the lineup at left guard this week. That was so totally embarrassing. I'll be out there tomorrow. Like, we're back on track. Everything. They're not in London. Like, okay, they have to go do it. I'm going to go do it. But provided that they do, I mean, my expectation is for the Broncos to win. My expectation is for the Broncos to win 13 games. My expectation for the Broncos was never to be the number 1 seed in the AFC, but the way the season has gone, with the Bills faltering, obviously the Chargers are going to choke. The Chiefs are going to surge with the benefit of the refs, by the way. That's going to happen. So get ready. It's frustrating. It's annoying. Chiefs fans are annoying. But as long as they have Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes, they're going to be a threat. Travis Kelce's super annoying. But they're going to be a threat, and they're going to get the benefit of the refs. Just get used to it. We can lose our minds when they play, or we can just say, hey, you've got not 11 men on the field. You've got 11 men and the officiating crew when you face the Kansas City Chiefs. And keep saying it because Chiefs fans hate it because they know it's true. What's the only thing that bothers you? Something that triggers you. Triggered, Kansas City Chiefs fans. It bothers you because it hits close to home. So I look at this Broncos team and go, okay, they're on track. They're on the track. Man, are they better than I thought while also not performing to their level? The defense, let's say if the defense is 100%, right? The defense is probably performing at about 80% capacity right now. You get Dre Greenlaw back out there, and an update on that this week. We'll have it beginning tomorrow. Friday, we'll have a better idea on our Saturday pregame show right here on YouTube. That'll be fantastic. So the defense can push to that 100%, but they're probably 80% right now. They're 80% of their potential right now. ILB still a problem. And yeah, Riley Moss can sometimes be a problem, but let's say 80%. You've got a different number, share it to me. The offense is performing, if there's 100%, the offense is performing about 30% of what they could be. Look at how much growth. I wrote it down. Where's my note card? I got my handy dandy note cards, right? So I wrote down on my note card a couple of radio bits, like Magic 8 Ball Broncos radio bit I want to do. Racehorse or cannabis strain radio bit I want to do. And then what changes in the future? I really spent a lot of time, and I wrote this down Sunday. I wrote this down on Sunday. What changes in the future? I have an idea of what changes in the future. I have a really good idea. And I'm going to share it with you after a word from our sponsor.
Today's episode of Orange and Blue Today is presented by Ramos Law, the official injury law firm partner of the Denver Broncos. Ramos Law was founded by Dr. Joseph Ramos, an attorney and ER doctor, to provide exceptional care to those injured in accidents. With a unique understanding of both medicine and law, the Ramos Law team is built to fight for you every step of the way. Experience the Ramos Law difference. Contact them today at ramoslaw.com.
Ponder the future with me. What changes for the Denver Broncos? Now, we could say the defense gets Dre Greenlaw back, and now they're even more swarming. They are on pace for 85 sacks. The record is 72, and I believe it was the 84 Bears, and then the Eagles a couple years ago got 70. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but that's top of my head. Like, the record of sacks of all time since sacks have been recorded. I believe it was 82 when they started recording sacks, whatever. The record is 72. The Broncos are on pace for 85. It's insane. It's insanity. What Nick Bonito is doing is insanity. What this Broncos defense is doing is insanity. So let's say they're at 80% and you get Greenlaw back, and now what changes in the future? Again, I meditate every day and I think about life, but I also sometimes will bring up football. And when I think of these big picture items, I'm like, what changes in the future? 80% now becomes 100%, or the potential to push for more than 80%, because Dre Greenlaw is really damn good when he's healthy. He's hardly ever been healthy. But when he's healthy, he's damn good. That's all pro level. So obviously 80 to 100 is possible for this Broncos defense. Even if it's at 90, 95%, 85%. Just if they're at 80 right now and they maintain, and then you get some more from Dre Greenlaw, that's awesome. There's a bit of room for growth. There's 20% room for growth. Oh, God, math. There's 70% room for growth on the offense. Which one's going to grow more? The defense will grow, but there's a cap on what they can do because it's only 100%, and they're already about 80% of their full potential. Is Sean Payton's offense going to be screaming like George Costanza? I was in the pool! Because the room for growth isn't what they wanted, isn't what they get. Do they go from 30%? And give me your number in the chat room. Does this offense go? They're hitting 30% on all cylinders. So that's 70% of growth potential. Do they get to 50%? Do they get to 60%? Do they get to 70%? Is it 35%? Like, what's the story? What changes? And that's why I wrote down that on Sunday. What changes in the future? Again, super disappointed, super frustrated by this Jets game, and it was a win. 25,000 foot view. You're 4-2. You have a chance to be 9-2 by the bye. 8-3 is what I had them at the bye. Mace had them at 7-4. I think all those numbers are very reasonable. Very reasonable. Football is tough. It's a tough game to play. Anything can happen. Look at the Falcons and the Bears. 2 Monday night games suck, by the way. It's terrible. But look at any given Sunday or 2 doubleheader on Monday night because the NFL, yay. I understand. But if 7-4, what's the conversation there? 9-2, what's the conversation there? And is the number 1 seed? Anything's possible. Kevin Garnett said that. So yes, it's possible they're the number 1 seed. Could it perhaps be likely? I'm willing to ask that question. I'm not willing to change my expectations. My expectation at 13 wins, by the way, is very high, but my expectation wasn't for them to be the number one seed in the AFC. But wouldn't it be glorious if every team had to come to the Mile High City to get to the Super Bowl? You win 2 home games, and then you're in Santa Clara again 10 years later. Now, the 10 years have been terrible, except for last year. Last year was fun. Before that, mostly terrible. 2 home games with the best home winning record in football right now, home winning streak in football. That's the Denver Broncos. They got a stretch of home games coming up. Things will look pretty good. If you play the way that you can, again, 80% on that defense, hitting on 100%, and probably moving up when you get Dre Greenlaw out there. 30% of this offense with a chance to be, could this offense grow 70%? That's my question, basically, in this expectation conversation. Could the offense grow by 70%? Probably not. The defense is more likely to click on 100% than the offense is. They're closer to 100%, and they're better. They're just better. More experienced players. The offense has a lot of young players, the receivers mainly. So you have a young Pat Bryant, you have a young Marvin Mims, you have a young Troy Franklin, and these type of things, a young RJ Harvey. These type of things can pop up where it's Harvey doesn't know what play it is. Franklin has a drop. Pat Bryant gets a penalty. Marvin doesn't do a whole lot wrong, so I love Marvin. But the point is this. Where's that growth for the offense? If they're at 30% right now, which I believe is a fair number, I might be even a little bit too positive on the offense because I'm really disappointed in this offense. But if the offense is at 30%, can they grow at 70%? Probably not. But where's that number? At the end of the year, when the defense is clicking at least 80%, maybe even 100%, the defense is leading the way. Is the Broncos offense at 50%? Is the Broncos offense at 70%? I think about 70 is a pretty good number to look for. 70 to 75%. Super positive, maybe 80%. Maybe your offense can be as good as your defense is now by the end of the year. But things need to start trending that way. It's week 7. We should have already seen more hints. The Jets game feels like a step back. That's the main reason I'm disappointed in it. And I'm flushing it away because I'm not going to just keep complaining about Bo Nix missing a wide open Pat Bryant for a touchdown. And he didn't throw it. He didn't see it. That's the problem, is he didn't see it. He took off to run instead when Pat Bryant was breaking wide open. So J.K. Dobbins dropped screen pass. Like, there's a lot of complaints, a lot of nitpicking. I'd rather look big picture. Did your expectations change? Mine haven't. And also, even though I said, hey, possibility of 9-2 at the bye, I have them at 8-3 at the bye. Mace has them at 7-4 at the bye. That still didn't change my expectations. Even looking at the schedule, knowing that the Broncos could be 9-2 at the bye, that didn't change my expectations in terms of number one seed in the AFC. I personally believe that they could win the AFC West, but not be the number one seed. Maybe that's Indy. Maybe it's Buffalo. Whatever. Who wants a revenge game in Indy? Who wants a revenge game in Buffalo? Like, I'm fine with it. But this team has to start playing better. So I want to know, as I check the chat room here, it is Orange Blue today. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Jumping in the chat room, got a couple hundred comments. Appreciate everyone for jumping in right now. And what are your expectations? Mike's the real one in the chat. Jets game made you feel sick even with the win. Yep. He also says they play better at home. Paul says the Jets game last year was even worse. True. And then think of how they grew after that, especially week 7. Is 7 the key? Should I do some numerology today? Is 7 the key for the Broncos? It's beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful, man. Why do I go snowball? It's beautiful, man. 7 is beautiful. Beautiful. And the Broncos with 7. John Elway, the Duke. It's a little odd. I'll tell you something very personal. Right here, up the hogback, actually that direction, west, because I'm facing west. On the top of the hogback, almost directly behind my house here in Roxborough, somebody put an angel number made with rocks. That's with 7, like 777. So there's someone who purposely put a group of rocks in the formation of an angel number. It's kind of cool. It was alarming when I first climbed up there. I was like, what is this? But yeah, 7. Is week 7 the key? Is week 7 where things start to get going? Week 7 is what it was last year. I know it was the Saints, right? But Saints in one hand, Giants in the other. Aren't they kind of the same? I'm not in love with Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo like everyone else. Certainly they're fun to watch and gives us something to talk about. At least it's better than Russell Wilson and I guess poor Tyrone Tracy. But like, okay, so Scatterbo, why did he fall to the 4th round? And guys like Mike Evans are busting his mom jeans at the seams, being like, this is why these fake scouts in the media, they get it wrong all the time. Cam Scatterbo was always going to be a mid-round pick. I believe I had a 3rd round grade on him. I don't have it in front of me, but just top of my head and talking about Scatterbo, because obviously a lot of fans had questions. I'm like, yeah, he's a mid-rounder because he's somewhat undersized and you're not going to go to him as a receiver as much. You want 3 down backs today, or you want to use 2. Now Scatterbo has been dazzling and fun and exciting, and he's getting himself a concussion every other play. And Jackson Dart's got swagger. He's like Drew Lock. You know what I mean? Well, what happened to Drew? And I like Drew, but okay, let's talk about Jackson Dart. Let's really break this thing down. We will do that as the week goes on. But on today's show, on a Tuesday, Tuesdays are a time to really, either redo the game, go further into the game. Who wants to go further into the Jets game? For the love of God, I don't. I want to wash it away. And I look at this and I go, did your expectation change? Mine didn't, but they're incredibly high to begin with. So did your expectation change? Are you like a little perturbed at the Broncos? Are you right where you need to be? Do you see this team with a ton of growth? Do you have 30% of the offense? Is the offense clicking on 30%? If it was, and I have to do this because I don't want to do math. If it was a V10, not a V8, would it be 3 of the cylinders were working and 7 of the cylinders aren't working on this engine? I'm a gearhead who can't speak English. But Gage says, I see more Zach Wilson than Drew Lock and Jackson Dart. LOL. Okay, that's a good one. Good one. Imperial Vaughn says, ask Vance Joseph and 1 strip sack, please. I know, I heard Sean Payton say something about that. Like, we need some more turnovers. You're getting 30 sacks. Does the defense have to do everything? I guess maybe the offense playing like that, they have to. Mike saying Chris Olave should be available too. Listen, Olave, Garrett Wilson, there's a lot of guys, but you have to figure out Sutton. Why is Sutton not getting more involved? I don't care about Sauce Gardner. Throw at him. Bo Nix says he's going to be aggressive and then throws a bunch of passes at 5 yards or closer. I'm going to be aggressive. 5 yards, 5 yards, 5 yards. Aggressive means, yeah, I don't care if Sauce is on him. Bo can make pro throws. I seen it. And we saw it in Philadelphia, that last quarter, Philadelphia. He was making stick throws all day long. Couldn't do it against the Jets. Anyway, so, is it interesting clickbait to talk about trade for a wide receiver? Sure, I guess. But I like these young cats. I'd like Cortland Sutton to be figured out first. From Sean Payton, by the way. This isn't on Bo Nix. Some of the throws and the footwork is on Bo, yes. But the play calls, not going to Sutton as much as you need to. Figure out Sutton first before you go grab Garrett Wilson and further mess things up. Sean Payton has too many toys right now anyway. And I don't know about you, but growing up poor, didn't have a lot of toys, took care of my toys, still have some of my toys. In fact, one's right there on the wall. How you doing, Chewbacca? But it's like, when you don't have a lot of toys, you play with the ones you got, and you get really good at playing with those toys. When you have all the toys, how many rich kids did you know? I knew a couple. Of course, it's Grover, so being rich in Grover means that, well, the bank owns your crew cab truck, but it's a nice one. Anyway, but the rich kids with all the toys, did they really get the most out of the toys that they had, or did they play with a little bit of everything? Sean Payton has the rich kid problems. He's got a little bit of everything. I'd like him to figure out figure out RJ Harvey, figure out more Cortland Sutton, figure out Evan Ingram that's coming around. He's figuring it out with Evan Ingram. That's good, Sean, good. We don't need anything else thrown in the mix. We need Sean Payton to get this thing right. Get that offense humming. Get that offense going. And then see what you get. Justin Tag says, I'm kind of getting tired of all the Sean hate. Is it Sean hate or is it just saying he needs to be better? Justin, I personally don't believe that I am hating on Sean Payton. In fact, I like Sean Payton quite a bit. But I have questions about his play calls, and I think that's fair. So, Justin, I want you in the chat. Tell me, describe the Sean Payton hate. Because we should, in football and life, be able to question these public figures. I'm questioning Sean Payton. Not because I know more than him. Of course I don't. Sean Payton's forgotten more about football than I'll ever know. But I also know Bo Nix is better than he's playing. Cortland Sutton's better than he's playing. RJ Harvey's better than he's playing. Like, why is there this disconnect? Why is the defense? And I said it in August. I'll talk about this a little bit more on Dover and Cecil tomorrow. I said it in August, like, hey, Vance Joseph, you got everything. The defense had better ball out. Morgan Freeman voice. In fact, the defense did start balling out. Well, Sean Payton, okay, left guard, notwithstanding. Left guard, notwithstanding. Probably get Throckmorton this week. We'll see. Sean Payton, you have a lot. You have your franchise quarterback. You have your well-paid wide receiver. You have the young receivers that you wanted. You have your joker in Evan Ingram. You have the veteran back that you wanted. You have the running back that you told everyone, you told yourself to shut up. Please shut up. Sean Payton told himself to be quiet because he didn't want it leaking out that RJ Harvey was his guy that now he doesn't use. So again, Sean, do you have to have does everything have to be perfect? Or can you be better? I believe we know the answer. If you're being honest, I believe we know the answer. And I believe David has the best answer here. Simplify the offense to help the offense. Mark Schlereth has asked the question, basically to me and Dover, as we take issue with Sean Payton's play calling in game for the Jets game. And Stink has asked the question, well, what plays would you call? What plays would you call? What plays would you call? The simple ones. Less packages, less personnel groupings, still more formations. Obviously, you want formations. I'm not just saying line up in the T, everybody. Power I. Simplify things. And not because Bo Nix is some dummy or some sophomore slump or whatever anyone has to say. It's absolute insanity that the Broncos are 4-2, and I have to hear people say that Bo Nix is mid. Now, I'll get over it. I'll be all right. I'll use my own critique against myself. I'll be all right. But, we need to let this thing breathe a little bit. But at the same time, like the fourth quarter in the Philadelphia game, we need to start seeing things that we can build on. What can you build on if you're the Denver Broncos? I like this one, Imperial Vaughn again. I'd call the plays ran in the first half. LMAO, not that hard. Open the offense up. First half good. Second half bad. Sean Payton back and forth. What's going on? What's going on? And Paul, we'll get more into this as the week goes on. Paul, sweet hat, by the way. I say this. Welcome to the NFL, kid. It's going to be fun and interesting. Nick Benito, I'd like to introduce you to Jackson Dart. I know I'm going to put my chips on the Broncos defense, so we'll see if that rook can come through or not. Probably going to be a long day for Jackson Dart. That's just me. But anyway, what do you think, Broncos Country? And I want to know, where do you think this offense is at? And to go to my philosophical question, what changes in the future? What changes in the future? How much can this offense change? They're not going to be 30% forever. And if you think they're hitting on 50% of the cylinders, whatever, tell me. Tell me in the comments down below. But what changes in the future? And can this offense change so much while the defense maintaining its superior strength? Can the offense change so much that now you are Super Bowl contenders? So now you are a team that can play up to your potential. I don't believe the Broncos will be 100% on offense, nor 100% on defense. It's closer on defense. I could be totally wrong about this defense because they are close to 100%. So understanding that, I have them at 13 wins. My expectations did not change, and I don't believe they'll be the number 1 seed in the AFC. But wouldn't it be nice? Isn't that 51st Dates? Isn't that the song that she sings? Wouldn't it be nice? Right? Painting. I want to paint a beautiful picture. Bob Ross, happy little trees. John Elway, happy little John Elway. Like I want to paint the trees. I want to paint the picture where this Broncos team is the number 1 seed. I don't have that brush out yet, but don't tempt me, Sean Payton. Don't tempt me. Again, it's Orange Blue today. Thanks for helping to grow our Denver Sports YouTube channel. Hoping Mace is back tomorrow. He's been on assignment. Love him, appreciate him, miss him very much. Get him back here, and I'll give him a big hug for all of you out there in Broncos country. Until then, well, like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid. Stay tuned, and would you please, as always, stay frosty.
For over 20 years, my family, like so many of you, has proudly been part of Broncos Country.
Every season, we feel the energy, passion, and commitment that defines this team.
And now we are honored to be the official injury law firm partner of the Denver Broncos.
Ramos Law, what makes us different?